Greetings, community, and welcome to NCBD Comics and another edition of Kevin's most anticipated reads tomorrow for New Comic Book Day, 9/25/2024. And here we are once again, and here we are once more. No apologies necessary, my fine friend. I appreciate you, and I know you'll end up catching me on the rewind. But that being stated, hey, those in which that do catch me on a rewind, I want to thank you. And those in which decide to cruise on the live, well, hey, those I appreciate you, greatly. And as opposed to just appreciate you, why don't you go ahead and acknowledge those in which that decide to cruise on in. How you doing, Christina? I appreciate you cruising in and dancing with me. And Las Cruces. Hope all is well with you and yours. Let's go ahead and start off over at the DC world, and they're going to go ahead and give us Batman and Elmer Fudd. I think it's finally releasing this week. I think it was held off from last week, and is a newer style telling of a classic Batman story with a classic Bugs Bunny character. Elmer Fudd is not normally someone that you see teamed up with Batman, Bruce Wayne, but I do look forward to reading this. And this is exactly like I stated, it's a New York style telling of a classic story that I'm looking forward to getting my hands on. DC's Batman and Elmer Fudd, issue number 1, hopefully coming out tomorrow, 9/25/2024. Let's move away from DC and cruise over to Dark Cave, where they're going to give us Dick Tracy issue number 5. This was actually a book I was looking forward to kind of dropping, but there's no way I can do so because the story has been that good. It has put its hook into me, and now I am just being so much line and sinkered on this thing. I can't stop but reading this thing, and I can't stop but buying it so I can go ahead and read the next issue. Again, as I stated, issue number coming out 5, which is 9/25/2024. This is a classic story of Dick Tracy, but it does have a slight twist. It does have a better telling, in my opinion. It's definitely a little more modernized, even though the setting is still told in that classic 2030s style feel. I really am enjoying the story, and initially it was only in which that I was picking it up for the nostalgic storytelling that I enjoyed so well with my father that it just drawn me to make purchase of the book, and I can't stop buying because it is, like I stated before, really written and drawn that well that now it's kind of on my permanent read list. So again, Dick Tracy, issue number 5, coming out 9/25/2024. Let's move it out from Mad Caves and cruise over to Image Comics. They're going to give us a few lines here of books. This is actually probably the most dense reads that are coming out for me, which is coming out from the publishing of Image. Start off with Feral, issue number 6. I love this book. And issue number 5 really ripped my heart out. I wasn't ready for what is going on in the story. And yes, it does have the same feel and it does have the same hit as your classic storytelling of a Robert Kirkman's Walking Dead. But I am more invested in these characters because they're animals. People are people. Animals are animals. They're beautiful. They're awesome. They're unconditionally loving, and they're just getting slaughtered in this book, and it hurts. It hurts deeply. I really feel for these characters, and it just really is got me to the core of really feeling what it is to be in this story. It's ripping my heart out every time I turn a page, but I can't stop turning a page. It's that enjoyable. It's that good. It's written that well. It's drawn that, I mean, to where you feel what's going on in the story. And I notice it. I just get immersed, and next thing I know, I can't stop but wanting to read the next book, even though I know how it's going to turn out. Not necessarily the way I want, but it's still so interesting, so involving, so engrossing as far as what's transpiring in the story that I can't help but grabbing each issue. So again, almost like everything that basically Tony Fleeks does. Feral issue number 6 coming out 9/25/2024 is way up there on my list to read tomorrow. Moving out from Feral issue number 6, let's talk about Nightclub issue number 2. This is a group of vampire kids that want to do the better thing than just to be a stereotypical trope of being a vampire. They didn't want to go out and prey on innocent as much as they want to go out and protect them. They themselves recognized that they were innocent victims and something that they didn't want to be. Not only did they not want to see others end up like themselves, but decided to go ahead and use their powers to help others in case of, in dire straits and or of need. So I really have been enjoying Nightclub, especially now that we have a volume 2. I'm really curious how these characters develop, and yeah, Mark's doing a great job with the development of this world and of these characters in particular. So I'm looking forward to grabbing grabbing let my hands grab a hold of the book of issue number 2 of Nightclub coming out tomorrow. Moving on from Nightclub, let's talk about Plastic, Death and Dolls, issue number 4. Yeah, I made a promise to myself, well, actually, and to the writer, that I wouldn't go ahead and read the first volume, which I never read yet, but I'd read second volume, Plastic, Death and Dolls, first before I read the first volume second. I didn't want to have it an influence on the other one, and I've been enjoying this one so much that I didn't want to convolute what I was reading and or have any type of prediction what I believe it was going to be transpiring. I didn't want to be overactive in my reading. I want to remain passive, and I thought the best way to do that was to just read the second volume first. Following me? Anyways, back to the story. Plastic, Death and Dolls. It is essentially a standalone. You don't need to know the first volume. I haven't. And that's why I really have been enjoying it. But it doesn't mean that you don't, you know, need to read this first. It just worked out that way for me. And I have been really, really enjoying it. I love all these books that have been coming out as far as plastic, vinyl, and all this stuff that Doug Wagner's been doing. But this one in particular really hits me interestingly, only because I know it is one of the first that he had written, and it comes across a little more raw than the other ones do. So I really been enjoying this story, and I'm looking forward to issue number 4, probably above the first 3 more than any. So again, Plastic, Death and Dolls, issue number 4, coming out 9/25, 2024. Let's cruise off of that and talk about Transformers issue number 12. The Energon universe is going to boil down to 3 stories by the end of this year, and then we'll relaunch a few more stories, I believe, in the beginning. What we've been getting thus far is, again, the 3 primaries, which is your Transformers, Void Rivals, and your G.I. Joe one. My brain went away. Anyways, what we've really been getting is these are the core tales, Void Rivals. Anyways, and these are the ones that really develop the story. And Transformers has been solid. It almost made my most anticipated read, though. Once you see what is my most anticipated read, I think you'll know because of my personality why it is such. Transformers has just been awesome, and it's exceeding every expectation I had, even though I had none. I was a case in point. Was looking forward to trying to get rid of this, and I can't. Everything that comes out from this universe, I can't help but reading to not only support the overall understanding of what I'm reading as far as everything that's included in this universe, but the fact that every one of these stories that are included in this universe are that good. Just saying. So Transformers issue number 12 is coming out to you 9/25, 2024. Highly recommend you pick it up. Hey, buddy. I hope all is well. Appreciate you being here. Moving out for Transformers, and let's talk about Universal Monsters Frankenstein issue number 2. I really been enjoying all these Universal Monsters, and they've been, after just finishing Creature from Black Lagoon, I have really found that these classic stories and revisited in a new way and told in a new way have been really, really enjoyable, and it wants me to revisit some of these classic tales. Really didn't think they would do this, but here we are, and here I am talking about a story that in which I really didn't think I'd be involved in because I wasn't huge in some of these other, how should I say, I was always involved in the classic tales of the Frankenstein and Mummy stuff, but not Creature from the Black Lagoon. And here we are visiting stuff. 1, I didn't think I'd visit, and 2, find so enjoyable I want to go revisit the classic stuff. Back case in point, Frankenstein is actually, once I read issue number 1, I'm like, why haven't I actually revisited the original story that I read back in high school. So now, because I've been reading this, makes me want to go revisit that. And it's just been that much fun. Here I am reading comic books and want to read novels, and these novels have just make it that much more enjoyable to read these comic books. And I just been rather enjoying the fact that one has been supporting the other. So coming out tomorrow, 9/25, 2024, is a classic story of a Frankenstein that has been revamped for modern day tales, which is Universal Monsters Frankenstein, issue number 2, coming out to you. Let's move out from Image, which they gave us a quite long list, and cruise over to Dark Horse. They're going to give us Masters of the Universe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles of Grayskull, issue number 1. This is a story that I've been looking forward to quite some time, and it's a story I never knew I really wanted to see. It's something that I never thought it would happen and never dreamed that it ever would come true, because I never thought it would ever even be something that would even be considered. Are you kidding me? This is awesomeness. It almost made my most anticipated read. It was that close. I am a huge Turtle fan. Gray Skull fan. I grew up with both and I enjoy both tremendously. However, it did just miss out, but it doesn't mean that it isn't probably going to be like second to third on my list of this week, and I'm dying to jump into it. But again, Masters in the Universe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles of Grayskull, issue number 1, coming out to you 9/25, 2024. Moving out from that, let's talk about Survival Street, Radical Left, issue number 1. This is the second volume of this Survival Street, which is a play on, like, parody of Sesame Street. It's really been interesting to see what they've been doing, and it's really a cut loose, slit your throat version of a Sesame Street. And I've rather been fascinated on how far it's been pushing the envelope on one, the characters in which that they're depicting, and how they're going ahead and slightly tweaking it, because there is no homage, it's more of a parody, and how they end up taking off from these characters. I don't think it was initially intended by anyone for these characters to go that way, but it does catch you off guard. It does give you a little shock value to go ahead and make its point, and there has just been no way that it's been short on my list to want to be up there, no matter almost what the story is being told, to be just high on my most anticipated read list. That made sense. Appreciate you being here, even for a couple of minutes. Moving out from that, and let's cruise over to Marvel Land. Marvel is going to bring us Amazing Spider-Man issue number 58. We're closing in. Oh, we have 58, 59, and 60, and that is it for Zeb Wells on this long-running, basically, God, I think it's been like 3 years that he's been doing this. It was broken down in 3 separate projects within it. I topped the Zeb on how he was putting all this stuff together from the beginning and what his objectives were. And in my opinion, he's been able to pretty much hit everything that he was striving for. And I'm looking forward to a rather interesting handoff of the baton, because it isn't an ending as much as it's kind of give you a cliffhanger to what's coming up in issue number 61. 58 is a big aspect of supporting that finalization up to 60 and the baton handoff into 61. ASM 58. Moving on from that, we're going to talk about Avengers. This is the Infinity Watch annual, which is the final telling of the Infinity Watch storyline. This is an issue number 1, which actually sets up for the Infinity Watch storyline that's going to be coming up deeper into the fall, that we're going to end up getting. I think it's like in November. Anyways, I've been looking forward to this. This finalizes everything. What it does really more than finalizes stuff is actually sets things up for the next book coming out, the next storyline of this Infinity Watch. I've been thinking it's kind of cool. It's been interesting. It's been different knowing that all these stones are embedded into people. It doesn't make the classic story of old able to be told in its normal nature, because it does involve individuals, which you can't just straight out off without certain ramifications. You can't just take out 7 people like that. It would ruin this universe to some degree. No, maybe not everyone's a major player in which that had these stones that are embedded into them at the same point. Doesn't mean it wouldn't affect the Marvel universe to a degree in which that I think it just wouldn't be healthy. So I think it's interesting to see how all this is working out. And it does set up a major story that's supposed to transpire later on, like I said, uh, coming to the end of the year. I personally am just excited to see how all this is working out. We've got a couple new characters. I've been enjoying how all the story has been working out. So me, it's up there on my most anticipated reads. And again, that's Avengers Infinity Watch finale, which is actually an issue number 1. So moving on from that, we're going to talk about Chasm, Curse of Cain, issue number 2. Now, this has been a cool story because what we're getting is, well, Ben is coming to the realization, once again, that he wants to or needs to be, I guess, an anti-hero to a certain degree. He's really on a search and find mission to find some self-worth again, as we're seeing that the story kind of revolutioned into something that we've kind of seen before, but into characters in which that we've not seen them having a battle in quite some time, and it's under different circumstances. I don't know. I haven't digged it. That's why I've been buying it. I really am curious now. Is Ben is this new character? How this new character is going to end up being, and how they're going to flesh him out to integrating back into the Marvel universe. So I like the character. So sue me. That's why I'm looking forward to issue number 2 coming out 9/25/2024. Moving on from that, we're going to talk about Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 9. Just read 7 and 8. Kind of put a little blots on 8, some water, so I think I just ruined it. Doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy it. Read it, loved it. I can't wait for issue number 9. It's getting pretty deep, especially when we start realizing that, Goblin Boy has some certain daddy issues that he needs to take care of rather soon. Now we're getting all these I should say generational characters, and they're getting their sons, and we see the reappearance of Iron Man's son, and how everyone's supposed to prepare, knowing that, well, if you know, you know. If you don't, it's too much already. It's getting thick. There's a lot going on, and we're seeing how certain things are not quite what we hoped for them to be. At the same point, they're kind of turning out the way some of us thought they might. Like I said, there's some certain daddy issues going on. It seems like the only person that knows how to deal with certain things is Peter. At the same point, now that we got kind of an introduction of Venom going on, in the case of a new version with the suit, holy macatoonie, is there a lot going on, and is it fun for me to read? That's why I'm looking forward to issue number 9 coming out tomorrow, 9/25/2024, and that's Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 9. Moving on for another last one of the Marvel Universe, we're going to talk about Venom Zombiettes issue number 2. Really not much to say on this as much as it's supporting role to the overall Venom war, but better than that, for me, it just allows us some mindless murder. Now, what I'm really getting at is we got symbiotes looking for brains. We got zombies looking for brains. And when you have the two put together, all you're really having is a brain fest. And it's just been awesome to see everyone defend themselves against something they have no idea how to contend with. And that's why I'm looking forward to jumping into issue number 2, is they have no idea what to contend with. But moving out from that, we're going to talk about our last issue, which is, yes, you've guessed it, the Blue Light special for this evening is, well, it's a collaboration. Did I just say that? Let me try it again. A collab. Hey, it's a partnership between 2 publishers. Yes, it's a collab. We have Boom Studios working with Dark Horse to bring us Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Usagi Yojimbo. Now this is flipping awesome. Truly, honestly, I am dying to get into this. I mean, look at the art. Seriously. 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 2, it's another one of those collabs that I was looking for. You got Mighty Morphin, you got Usagi Yojimbo, you got, I don't know, 2 of some of the best characters that I really enjoy teaming up, battling. Who knows? Let's get into it and let's see. Truly, this is the most anticipated read this week for me. I'm as soon as I get off of this, I'm going to eat a little bit of food and jump right into it with my grubby little fingers. Sorry, white gloves. But I can't wait to get into this thing, and I'm going to let you go. And for those that have stopped by in the live, those are the crews on the rewind, I greatly appreciate you. And to you, I hope you get the books that you're looking for. And that's it for me, Entropy. Thank you very much, and you stay well.